Well, here we are. About to rip up my 1986 Chevy. I've had this truck since I was, 17 years old. And so I've always never been too pleased with the engine and transmission that it has. It has a 305 carbureted engine with the SM 465 3-speed plus low. And it's always been kind of a slow truck, I'm not looking for a ton of speed, but just something that's a little bit more gas efficient, doesn't scream quite so much going down the freeway at 65 miles an hour. And so in the background of the shot, you can see the fender off of the 1988 Suburban that I am stealing the TBI fuel injected 5.7 liter to install in this vehicle along with its automatic transmission, and I'm also going to take the transfer case, which I wasn't originally planning on doing. Basically, at this point, I've stole absolutely everything from that truck. There's not a lot left in that thing. You can see I stole the carpet. Dash is just sitting there. That's the dash out of my truck. Steering column out of my truck. About the only thing I haven't stole is the actual visual dash and the seats and stuff like that. I didn't plan forward here, so I'm going to unlock this truck. Being kind of getting a scope for what's going on here. But I just stole the carpet. It's not in the best conditions, but I didn't have any carpet. So this is way better. I have this rhino-lined, kind of pseudo-rhino-lined surface all the way through the bottom of the cab, all the way up to the bottom of the firewall there. So this is all sealed up real nice underneath here, but I didn't have, about 13 years ago, I decided that I didn't need a floor mat and carpet, so I threw everything away. And yeah, you get older, you learn some stuff. But I went through. This used to be a manual, and so I closed up the transmission hole here and changed this pedal assembly. Stole that from the Suburban, and then also stole the steering column that I needed for that. I rebuilt that, tightened up the lugs here. There's the 4 bolts in here. It's a real common problem with these GM steering columns, that they start to wobble after a while, but that's nice and tight now. Real pleased with that result. All the electronics are from the Suburban, and right now, I don't know, but this coated piece of wire here that goes from this side to that side is actually for the electric windows and electric locks that I do not have right now. They will be coming from the Suburban, but as you can see, the door on the Suburban are in great condition other than the paint. You can see this one's all damaged, but this one is absolutely perfectly straight. You can see it in the reflection. It's almost perfect. And that goes for the other one too. So I'm going to be taking those doors and sliding them on this thing. Unfortunately, that means I had to paint and stuff like that. But you can see in my doors, the stamp sunlight, you can see the wrinkles and stuff. This thing's been used as a truck for about 29 years now. And yeah, you can just see the dents all over it. It's not very thick metal. They made these GMs out of the cheapest stuff they could find, I think. But it was not supposed to go this far. Absolutely not supposed to go this far. I wanted an automatic transmission. That's all that it was. And figured out the original 305. You really can't see it underneath all that. 305 with the Edelbrock 4-barrel carb 600 CFM was a little overpowered for my liking, especially on this 305. Just kind of drowned it. And then that was married up with the SM 465 transmission. It's upside down, but you can see 3-speed. It was horrible. I would be going about 65 down the freeway and hitting about 3,000 RPM on the engine. So, I mean, it worked great. It's got 150,000 miles on it, but that's not good for 2015 anymore. So, this is a 4-speed. Well, it's a 3-speed plus overdrive automatic. So, this looks shabby right now. Like, we got some paint shearing off, and there's a lot of grease and shit on it and stuff like that. But this is a way better platform to start with to do some upgrades. The 5.7. Got a TBI on this, which I'm gonna have to figure out my fuel line still. Screwing around with that last night. We need a new fuel pump intake. I'll probably try to grab, because I've got the saddlebag tanks. See them underneath here. These stupid saddle tanks. And so I need to grab the 87. Hopefully I'll be able to use an 87 in tank to replace all this assembly there. Hopefully see that on the camera. But that switching assembly and stuff like that, I need to replace all that. And so I went through and just kind of painted it up, used some 415 on the frame, and then just hit it with a can of paint, brush on enamel. Good enough for me, I don't care. I also didn't have air conditioning, so I had to go through and modify the firewall. Just cut a section out of the Suburban and welded it in there. And I got some photos. I'll probably put some stills up of that if I post this. And so now I have the AC unit, and sealed up the clutch hole. I don't know. This isn't great stuff, but it does a good job. Whatever. It's a 30-year-old vehicle. I'm spending the cost of that vehicle to put it back together, basically. And it's not like I'm going crazy here. But I've got over here in the corner, got was it the 208? I don't remember now. Should remember these things, huh? Yeah, let's see. An NP208. I do believe that does a 50% reduction when it's in 4-low. I've never had any problems with it. This isn't the transfer case that came out of my truck, but I have the exact same one. And so I'm just going to use this one because I really don't feel like changing this flange out because this flange is different. So we have a 4-bolt coming off the transmission here on the I don't know if this transmission. I was trying to figure that out last night, if it's a Turbo 400 or a 700R, but I think the 700R is in the newer trucks, so I'll have to do some research on that. I don't really care too much, but they got the 4-bolt coming out of this, and you can kind of see on the back of the SM465 that it's the 7-bolt, or 6-bolt rather, and that's going in the back of the transmission here. This is completely corroded up. You can't even see what's going on here anymore, but obviously this is accommodating for that whole flange, and so it doesn't have that spacer right there. As cheap as I am, I'm actually stealing the exhaust and everything. I mean, this exhaust was in great shape on this other truck. I mean, I'll probably because I had the dualed, hacked dualed exhaust here with glass packs coming out the side, and you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exhaust jobs on this bullshit. It was time for it to go, so just getting rid of that, and then So I'm just going to swap out with this single pipe because I like it coming out the rear better. I never did care for it coming out the sides. That was kind of a temporary thing a couple years back, and I just never went back and fixed it. I was trying to mount my spare tire underneath, so I did that. It was kind of a wonky mount. I doubt that it'll ever work for me because it's too much of a pain in the ass to get it off, and it's the wrong size. Like I've got the bigger tires now. Not huge, but it would work on the front tire, I guess. Might work in a pinch. It's probably flat. But it's nice to just have the one single stock pipe. And I'll probably have that muffler replaced with something that sounds a little bit better and put a performance cat on it. Just make it smell a little nicer. And I didn't have cats before, and this is a classic almost, so I don't really have to have emissions control, but I don't like it smelling like shit everywhere I go. Also went through a few years back, 7 years ago, 8 years ago now, I put a lift kit on it, and that was horrible. Got it from Rough Country, and they sent me the wrong lift. It was like an 8-inch lift for a full-ton truck, and it was miserable. It was full leaf too, so it was like you put an 8-inch lift on these rear springs here, and what it does is it arcs it out real heavy, real low arc, so that makes it even stiffer. It's for a full ton, and so being that was like that, and these were low, they bent like this normally, it was bent like that, like just made the ride horrid. And plus it was way too damn tall. I'm not into big tall trucks, and so I ripped that shit off about 3 years ago, and I never taken the time to rectify my U-bolt issues, because they had U-bolts are about that much longer to accommodate the thicker springs, and so I went through and fixed that, and then fixed this one as well. I'd actually gone through and done this one a couple years back, but it was in my garage on a Tuesday evening or something, and I didn't do it right, and so I completely loosened this and tightened it down evenly all the way around. Another thing I was looking at is I need to fix this. I think this is a drag link. I don't even know what this is called, but fix this so that I'm in the right place when my wheels are tracking straight, which I think I'm a little short. I don't know, to fix that, because it's a pain in the butt. My wheel doesn't sit straight anymore. Alright, so what we're doing this morning is we're about to start this thing up for the first time after having the entire front end off of it, new engine. I took this engine out of an 88 Suburban, as I already mentioned probably, and swapped it in here, did almost an off-the-frame restoration, all new electronics, everything's been redone in here. And so I'm going through and testing some of these systems. It looks like the fuel gauge here, I was hoping that when I hit the switch that it would show that there's fuel in here, so I'm wondering if maybe I have a wire backwards. But other than that, I mean, the lights are working, the horn's working, even though my steering wheel's upside down. Turn this on. Doesn't sound like I have a fan circuit. Probably not getting fuel, so. Sounds like something's rubbing. I don't know. We'll come back to it when I get to it. Yes!
Today we are getting rid of this damn Suburban. Pain of my existence for the past couple months. This is how we had the vehicle on the trailer.
It has been almost 2 years since I finished the project here on the truck, and a couple of things that came up during the process of finishing up the fuel system and doing some things like that were that I needed to address the switching unit, as I couldn't find any wiring diagrams for the 1987 fuel system that GM had created when they developed that vehicle. And so I used the switching unit to change which fuel pump was on at any given time based on the position of the momentary switch in the dash, and thus eliminated my signal wire from my fuel gauge, which wasn't working correctly for some reason after the swap. So what I did is I swapped in two fuel gauges, and this allowed me to monitor both tanks at once. And then once I switched tanks, which tank was providing fuel to the engine, I was able to actually turn off the pump in the tank that I wasn't using. So this was pretty brilliant, but I don't know exactly how they did that in 1987. So hopefully that is going to work for the longevity of the vehicle. Because of the new panels that I had gotten from the Suburban doors and the driver's side fender, and then the new panel on the passenger's side, I needed to have the truck painted in 2016. This was an expensive and drawn out process that would be a project unto itself, and I'd like to cover that in a future video, along with some of the thousands of other photos that I have related to this truck. When I think about the Suburban, it makes me sad that I ripped apart such a nice vehicle. But thinking about my truck, it's been my truck for over 16 years now, and there's nothing that can replace my truck.